views and opinions expressed on the Kapow Radio Show Network are absolutely the views of Fifth Hook Media and its affiliates. The Kapow Radio Show Network may have offended, exposed, revealed, laughed at, made light of, or shown the awesome stupidity in general of the following: the Illuminati, aliens, reptilians, greys, and ascended masters, sexual perverts, the oligarchs who engage in a lot of sexual perversion, corrupt, dim-witted politicians, Marxists, socialists, Nazis, idiots that think they are gods, idiots that think there is no one true God, false teachers, false religions, cultural Christians, the emerging church, the submerging church, sheeple, mindless Satanists, brain damage occultists, vampires, both spiritual and political, demons, fallen angels, nephies, people that do dumb things in Walmart, people that do dumb things, period, and guys named Schmitty. To this non-inclusive list, we sincerely wish to say, too bad, so sad, it sucks to be you.
Lord, Lord, now can't you see? Trouble and evil are surrounding me. Death and pain for the wicked world's fate, but the righteous and just shall live by the faith.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Freedom Friday Hour. It is Friday, July 11th, 2014. Amazing, huh, Ms. Kapow?
Exactly.
It's crazy. We got a lot on the plate for you today. We're going to entitle this episode, Past the Point of No Return.
I like it.
Because we are, like, past the point of no return. I mean, it is insanity out there. It's like you read these stories and you see this bizarre demonic behavior of individuals, but it's like it's a collective insanity. It's like a collective psychosis that has hit not just America, but the whole world. Mm-hmm. And what we focus on here is like the weird stories, more alternative news. So we're not even talking about mainstream news, like what's going on in Israel or with ISIS and what's going on with the border crossings and what the American government is doing in that situation or not doing. I mean, it's just too much. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable.
It is.
It is like I just see this collective psychosis, this collective spiritual and mental illness.
Yes.
And I just know the portals are open, and they're continuing to be opened. Mm-hmm. Continuing, these folks that are Luciferian are continuing to have rituals inviting all these demonic hordes in.
Yes.
That's affecting the people, and they're literally just going crazy because their bodies can't take the demonic infestations. No. You can't fight them off. Mm-mm. So, Lord, just keep praying. Keep praying for the Lord's return here soon, because it's a mess. Yeah, I want to remind everybody that our newest ebook, Idolicide, The Killing of Idols, is available for $2.99 at all digital retailers, like Amazon.com, if you prefer to use a Kindle, iBooks, if you prefer to use iBooks and Apple, Barnes & Noble, Sony, etc. Anywhere. You can get it anywhere. It's everywhere. It's global.
It's global.
It's crazy. Or you can go to fifthhookmedia.com, FIFTHOOK media.com. If you go there, you can download the book, Idolicide, in any format you want, because there's a link there that'll take you to smashwords.com. You register for Smashwords for free, and you can download it in Kindle, Barnes & Noble, Sony, Roku, Cuckoo. You can print it out. You can get it as a PDF. You can get it as a plain text. You can, you can 3D print it, and you can paint the side of your house with it. That would be cool.
Yes.
You can do all kinds of things.
Bake it.
You can bake it. You can eat it. You can eat it. It's tasty.
You can blend it.
It tastes like green tree frog mixed with chocolate. Idolicide. Linda, what is Idolicide about? Ms. Kapow? You know what it's about?
Killing idols.
It is killing idols, and the idols in your life, right? It's like getting rid of those practices, those things, those attitudes. Amen. Ding, 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 ding. And behaviors that stand in the way of a deeper relationship with Father.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like it's spiritual warfare 101. This is where it begins.
Yes.
If you have trouble in your life and you're dealing with demons and you're dealing with being attacked and issues and mental problems and spiritual problems and emotional problems and physical problems and financial problems, do I need to go on? And you go, wow, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, but what's going on here? Get this book. It's like 101, and it helps you get rid of those things that so easily beset us.
It helps you to renew your mind
Does.
so that you can see clearly.
Yep. So it gives you that wisdom. It's not that because we wrote it that gives you the
No.
wisdom. It's just the Word of God. There's a lot of word in there. Idolicide. I-D-O-L-I-C-I-D-E. Idolicide. The killing of idols.
Yes.
All right, just go to fifthhookmedia.com. Make it easy on yourself. Or you can go to kapowradioshow.com. Whatever. Okay. Past the point of no return, I believe you have a scripture that is very
Apropos. Isaiah chapter 29, starting at verse 13, and then I'm going to read through 21. It says, wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among his people, even a marvelous work and a wonder, for the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who sees us, and who knows us? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest? And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. And the meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off. That make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproves in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. And then it says, therefore saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. But when he sees the children, the work of mine hands, in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear the Lord of Israel. They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine. And that's all the way up to verse 24.
Wow. That's the point of no return. Can't go back after that. Amen?
Amen.
Okay, let's start with the first story here. The first 6 stories under this past the point of no return is, I want to subtitle it Crazy Demon Dance, because it's just all this crazy demonic behavior.
Yep.
I feel sorry for these people. Really. I really do. I know sometimes it sounds like I don't, but I know they're so demonized. They're so controlled. They can't help it.
Yeah.
I mean, even we as believers and all our friends that are believers are just being spiritually attacked like all get out. Some physically, some financially, some emotionally. I mean, almost everybody we know is under duress right now. I mean, unusual stuff. So you can imagine those that don't have the Lord. Yeah. Don't have His Holy Spirit. It's scary. What's going on in their heads?
Oh, it's awful. Ugh.
Oh, yeah. It really is. It really is. This first story comes out of Oklahoma City. I used to live in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, when I played with the group the Latinos.
The Latinos.
That's the song you hear at the end of the show. What we do when the party's over. So play with the band Latinos, and I lived in Oklahoma City. Also with Minor and McAfee. So what? Who cares? I actually played at the Civic Center here. I have my name scribbled on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, Archbishop condemns satanic black mass at Oklahoma City Civic Center as sacrilegious. What's important about this is that people are doing satanic rituals and opening up portals constantly in this country and in other countries globally.
Yep.
It's more and more on the rise. Okay, when this happens, it opens up evil.
Yep.
And you're going to see the fruits of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
which we are.
Yes, which we are. The Catholic Archbishop Paul Coakley, anyway, he's head of the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City. He condemned a scheduled black mass by a satanic group. Tickets are being sold at the Civic Center. He says it's sacrilegious and it's a blasphemous mockery of the Mass. He called on the community to step in and do something. Of course, the Civic Center says, "Hey, look at it's church and state. We have nothing to do with it. We can't tell them they can't do this." It's called the Black Mass of Oklahoma. It's being offered by the group Dachma of Angra Maino. It's scheduled to take place in September on the 21st. Tickets are only $15. What a great deal to go and get demonized. Huh? Can you believe that? Demons will possess you for free.
Yeah.
But here you're going to go and pay $15 to get possessed. Now that's a deal. The Black Mass has been a feared ritual, and now it's being brought to the light. This is according to the people who are producing it. It will not only be enlightening, but educational as well. The Black Mass will be conducted for a public to attend with certain adaptations to allow for a legal celebration. You know what the adaptations are? They can't have live sex or live nudity on stage. So they have to adapt to that. Because in the ritual, they run around.
So bring your imaginations.
Yeah, and they have sex. I'm sure it'll come close to it, but they can't actually use those bodily fluids in the host. What they do is they make fun or they mock the Catholic Mass, the host. It describes the event as a religious black mass, and it's always there to educate people, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So Crockley's he's not happy about that. You can't blame him. None of us should be happy about that. It says that it mocks the Mass, which is the center of Catholic worship and celebrates Jesus Christ's redemption of the world by his death and resurrection. In particular, the Eucharist, which we believe to be the body, blood, and soul and divinity of Jesus Christ, is the source and summit of our faith. Now, what the Black Mass does is it spreads bodily fluids, use your imagination, into the host. It defiles the host. So in Catholic Mass, the host is the body of Christ. So you see what it is.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. The Archbishop said the Black Mass, once again, is a mockery. He can't believe that the Civic Center would actually have that and allow it to be. And he calls on all the Catholics and people who care to do something about it. On the Dogma of Angra Maino website, it discusses the Black Mass, and here's what it says. It says, the modern form of the Black Mass is still practiced by modern devil worshippers to celebrate the perversion of the Catholic Mass, still seen in society today. The Black Mass has gone through a transformation to maintain practice within societal law. So in order to do it, they had to change some things to be within the law. Right there kind of tells you,
Yeah, not good.
What they do is they say the consecrated host, remember that's in Catholic thought, that's the body of Jesus Christ. The consecrated host is corrupted by sexual fluids. Then it becomes the sacrifice of the Mass. The blasphemy remains intact along with corruption of Catholic Mass. Modern Satanists see this as a ritual to mock the Catholic Mass in the form of blasphemy. It's also a rite used to deprogram people from their Christian background. That's right from their website. All right. It goes on. It says religious Satanism sees the Black Mass as a religious ceremony to empower themselves and receive a blessing from the devil. Did I say devil?
Devil.
The devil. So anyway, it's coming in a civic center near you. It's going to be in Oklahoma Civic Center. on September 21st of this year. So we read this story first because the next 5 stories then will make more sense of what's going on.
Yeah, this is going to be the fruit of it.
Yeah. How about this idiot?
This man was charged with sexually assaulting his own uncle and his grandmother of 82 years old.
So he's keeping it all in the family.
Yeah, disgusting.
Yeah.
It's from North Portland, Oregon. A Portland man is accused of sexually assaulting his 82-year-old grandmother and a 49-year-old uncle. Police say that the suspect, Willie Andre Johnson, who's 34, is a registered sex offender who was previously convicted of rape.
Previously convicted of rape. Obviously, he's been let out.
Yep.
So when he's let out, he came in and attacked his grandmother in bed. She's in her 80s.
Yep.
It's his blood grandmother.
Yeah, disgusting.
And then he went and he attacked his uncle. That wasn't enough. He wanted to get some of the Uncle Theo. The uncle was more physically able to fight back and get him out of the house.
Jiminy Cricket.
So when the officers get there, they arrest this guy. And during the arrest, I guess he complained of some medical issues. They probably thumped him up a little bit. But he's charged with kidnap, attempt rape in the first degree, unlawful sexual penetration in the first degree, sex
Dear
abuse
Lord.
in the first degree, kidnapping in the first degree, assault in the fourth degree, the whole bit. He was let out. He was a convicted rapist, let out, goes to his family, and rapes his own grandmother and uncle.
Dang.
Okay, so this has everything to do with the satanic black masses and the country getting more and more demonized pagan worship and outright Luciferian satanic worship.
That's right.
All right? And, okay, how about this one?
This one is from CBS Houston, and it says, headline news says, I feel like killing someone. Police say man beaten to death in front of crowd at Amtrak station.
This is a really, really sad story out of San Antonio, Texas.
A man was beaten to death in front of a crowd of people, which is sad in itself, at an Amtrak station Thursday. San Antonio police arrested a 21-year-old Michael Joseph Fobbs for approaching a man sitting on a bench alone and fatally beating him. The 56-year-old man was waiting to board a bus when the incident happened. And police said that Fobbs paused for a few moments and said, I feel like killing someone, and then continued to beat the man with his fist until he killed him. Amtrak security rushed to the scene, but it was already too late. The victim is from Texas, and the medical examiner's office has not released the man's name because his family has not been notified. And this Fobbs guy has been charged with murder, and his bail amount is set at $150,000.
Which isn't a whole lot for murder. $150,000?
No, should be $1 million.
Should it be $5 million or something?
$10 million.
Yeah, I mean...
But see, what gets me is that people were watching this.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
With one stupid man.
Yeah.
And a crowd of people.
Yeah. A 21-year-old guy.
Couldn't help this 56-year-old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy was 21 years old.
21 years old.
How intimidating could that have been? Yeah. I could have taken him on.
Exactly. And you could have. Miss Kapow could have. Miss Kapow would have whipped his.
Well, in the name of Jesus, I would have just...
Yeah. But he's walking around. And obviously he has mental illness, what people would call mental illness. We call spiritual illness. And he says, I feel like killing someone. And he just starts beating somebody.
Yeah.
It's behavior that's it's been over the top recently, and it keeps increasing. It's not going to get better, and it's not going to lighten up. It's only going to get worse. That's why we're at the point of no return. You can't return. We're not going to return to that glorious time of civilization.
No.
We have, I don't believe in evolution, but I use the term de-evolved because actually I believe in de-evolution. I do believe that humans in general are becoming more like worms.
Yeah.
Because it's a spiritual thing. Physical manifestations are spiritual problems.
Well, because without the wisdom of God, you're really stupid.
Yeah, you're a fool. You're a fool. And how many people just reject God and His Word? Well, here's another demonized story, and here's something that's just way over the top. As most people know, I'm a retired police lieutenant with years and years, both as a cop and as a detective and in management. So when I read stories like this is not normal. This guy
No.
should have never been hired in the first place. But this just isn't normal. This is Utah cop repeatedly drugged and raped his own wife on video before killing his family and himself. He killed his 2 little boys, his wife, and his mother-in-law.
Wow.
The guy's a cop, or he was a cop. A Utah police officer killed his family before taking his own life. He had drugged and raped his wife on videotape repeatedly before he committed murder of his whole family and then suicide on himself.
Oh, I see. He has a son that was 7, and then his little 5-year-old daughter.
Oh, I thought there were 2 boys. One's a girl. Yeah, you're right. One's a little girl here. Well, what the story says is that this guy had been very troubled, a very troubled individual, right? They believe, that he used a department-issued handgun to kill his wife, his children, and mother-in-law in January of this year. And then he turned the gun on himself. They said he was, now, this is unbelievable, they say he was a well-respected law enforcement officer, considered a teddy bear by most who knew him. I can't believe his problems wouldn't be displayed in the workforce.
Yeah, especially because they say that he also had a dark side that apparently battled him since childhood.
Yeah.
So there should have been something.
How could he been an exemplary employee and a teddy bear and no one noticed anything wrong with this? You don't just wake up one day and go, I'm going to drug and rape my wife and videotape it, and then I'm going to kill my 2 children, 5 and 7, and my mother-in-law and myself. You just don't wake up one day and that happens.
No, he must have done something to his wife before that, too.
Yeah, his name is Josh. They say he was a very troubled individual that felt like he was about to lose his wife and children. Well, so you kill him? Investigators reported that he had been sexually abused as a child. He had a deep hatred for his mother and was addicted to drugs and pornography. But he was a cop carrying a gun.
Yeah.
They hired him. So Spanish Fork Police, they're liable for all this. This is a huge liability.
Well, that's because a lot of the police agencies have lowered their standard because they can't find
You can't find good applicants anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy and his wife were both bodybuilders, but they said they didn't find any evidence of steroids or other drugs. He had been abused physically, sexually, and emotionally as a child, and was still upset with his mother for not protecting him from the abuse. Josh had writings that indicated he struggled with inappropriate sexual activity as a minor and into his adulthood. They also indicate Josh had a history of drug abuse. The writings seemed to corroborate the allegation that he had drugged and raped Kelly. That was his wife. Yeah. They were seeing a therapist in an effort to save his marriage. I guess he told investigators that Josh, this guy, had drugged his wife with Ambien and videotaped himself raping her while she was unconscious. You see, this is way beyond.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He had to have done things beforehand.
Oh, gosh.
That's why she wanted to leave him.
Yes. Oh, God, this guy's a weirdo. And you hired him. See, this is incredible liability. And you hired him. You don't hire someone like this. I hired a lot of policemen. And I did a lot of, I oversaw the backgrounds of the hiring and the academy. This guy wouldn't have got through the front door.
Shouldn't have, yeah.
Not in California.
Well, not with you, anyway. Because I worked for a police department, too. And
yeah, that's right.
We allowed some...
Yeah, you guys hired crooks.
Yeah.
You guys sucked. That's the Rialto Police Department in California. They suck.
Yeah, they hired a felon.
Yeah. They think the chief of police was a felon. Anyway, let's go on. Police said the officer did this 4 or 5 times over 2 years, although no video recordings from these attacks ever were discovered. Anyway, apparently they got into a heated argument over texting. They were texting. And before he came home to drop the children off, he Googled the terms, quote, America's most brutal serial killers, end of quote, and narcissism, end of quote. That's interesting that he would Google narcissism. I'm sorry. shortly before his shift ended with the police department, and then he sent his final text message to his mother and said this: "I hope you are having a good day. Have a long and healthy life."
Wow.
What a weirdo. Just demon-possessed.
See, and then he said he went to his wife's home where he killed Kelly Bourne, their 2 children, and placed their bodies side by side on a bed, lay down, and took his own life. His mother-in-law's body was found in another room.
Isn't that something? It sounds like they were living in separate homes, huh? Because it went to her house. Now, this idiot, Linden Police Chief Cody Cullimore, by the way, ex-police chief, he's not going to have his job very long after this incident, said he had not read the final report, but he said police recruits are given a mental health screening before they're hired and undergo background checks. I wonder what happened. He was aware of Boren's heavy teenage drug use. Then you should have never signed off on it. This Linden Police Chief, Cody Cullimore, is ultimately going to be responsible for hiring this freak.
Yeah. Well, his history of drug use included methamphetamine, psychedelics, marijuana, and cocaine.
And you hired him as a cop and trained him with a gun? Are you serious? He said each hire is evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Then he says after officers are hired, no regular mental health checkups are made available. You know why? Because if you're a cop for I'm going to say under 5 years, if you're a cop for 2 or 3 years, if you were to take a psych again, you would fail it because you're totally crazy by then. The world and what your job has already made you nuts.
And he even confessed to a fellow officer that he felt like there's something else living inside of him.
Thank you. I missed that. You're right. Yeah, that there was something else in there.
So a lot of people are aware that, you know what, there's something wrong with me. This is not the way I usually think. This is not the way I usually behave. But because they're unaware of what that thing is, they don't know how to get proper help.
Yes, exactly. And shame on this other cop that saw that and was that didn't say anything about it. You know what? Because it's a thin blue line, isn't it? But and I agree with you. And not only people can't recognize it, other people have a hard time going. Something weird about this guy, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
They're demonized, man. Demonized. Here's something that this is closer to home, so this just chaps my chaps. This is right here in California.
Yep.
This kooky state has released a rapist called the Pillowcase Rapist. His name is Christopher Hubart. And he's released in a community of Palmdale. It's Los Angeles County. This guy was called a Pillowcase Rapist because I don't know how many women he raped. I think in the 40s.
Yeah, I remember it was a lot.
Yeah, like 47 women he raped. And he was called a Pillowcase Rapist because he would take the pillowcase off and put it over their heads. And this guy was a bad actor. A bad thing. Well, guess what? State of California penal system says we're going to release him back into the community. But if that isn't bad enough, you should see the money that they're using of taxpayers' money to protect this
is horrible
piece of schmitty.
Schmitty, for sure. For sure. He's a son of schmitty.
He is.
A 63-year-old man who raped dozens of women in the Southern California area, repeatedly reoffended after his release, was taken to live in a home east of Palmdale Wednesday on the orders of a judge in the San Fernando Bay area.
San Francisco Bay Area. This is another thing that chaps me. This judge released this guy to L.A. County.
Yeah, instead of keeping it over there.
Into his house.
Yeah.
His neighborhood. What the heck, man?
Christopher Hubbard, dubbed the Pillowcase Rapist, was placed in a home on a dirt road in the 2300 block of East Avenue R in the unincorporated Antelope Valley, according to the L.A. County District Attorney's Office. He was greeted by several people, including a freelance cameraman and a woman who repeatedly shouted that the serial rapist wasn't wanted in the community and should be afraid.
Now, this community has been protesting his release to their community for a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
They've been on local radio, local TV. There's been major protests. But guess what? The California penal system, the governor, none of these idiots care.
Obviously. Obviously.
He's got to go somewhere, and they put him in this community.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think, well, problem solved. Tonight when he lays his head down on the pillow, we'll give him a really pillowcase.
Mm-hmm.
Kaboom, kaboom, right?
Yeah.
That's what you'd think how you'd handle this guy, because this guy needs to be
He
cold.
needs a dirt nap.
He needs a dirt nap. He needs to go swim with the fishes. I mean, this guy is not going to change. Every time he gets out, he's got out like 3 times. He's reoffended and raped women. Mm-hmm. He's going to do it again. Past behavior is indicative of future performance. But guess what? They can't just give him a dirt nap because the state is providing protection for him. Mm-hmm. My money, my tax-paying money.
Yep.
Is going to provide protection for this clown.
Disgusting.
The DA's office, the district attorney's office, had opposed this guy's release. Mm-hmm. Local politicians and Antelope Valley residents, they were, and also the Santa Clara County Superior Court Judge Gilbert Brown is the guy, apparently, who released him.
Nice. Thank you.
Even though everybody was opposed to it. Brown, who has jurisdiction over Hubbard's release because the convict's most recent offenses were in Santa Clara County, right? Mm-hmm. Determined that Hubbard's domicile was Los Angeles County.
Wow.
You know why? Because this crook grew up in Pasadena and Claremont, even though he has not lived in the area since he was first sentenced in 1972.
Wow.
What is that, 40-some-odd years ago?
Shiminy.
But the judge says, no, because he used to live there. We're gonna put him back there instead of putting him in Santa Clara County.
Sickening.
Do you see how the evil just keeps perpetrating?
Mm-hmm.
And they take care of themselves.
Yep.
Anyway, this guy arrives in a car. There's a picture of him with a baseball cap getting out and going to this house, and it gets worse. There's a woman in the background. She's screaming, "You're not welcome here, Hubbard. We don't want you here." The vehicle drove behind a gate, and a man wearing a baseball cap came out, which was him. And the lady says, "We won't stop this fight. We want him out. Be afraid. Be very afraid." Well, Hubbard is a registered sex offender at the Lancaster Sheriff Station. He was taken to the home by a private firm called Liberty Health, which was responsible for his supervision. Who's paying for that?
We are.
He will be under constant supervision for a period of several weeks to months, and that's it. Now, it gets worse. Listen to this, the taxpayers' money. The home Hubert will be living in belongs to a convicted felon from Lancaster. So the state is in cahoots with another convicted felon.
Mm-hmm. Might as well keep it in the family.
The guy's name is Martin Haggart. He served 8 years in prison for hiring a hitman to kill his wife. 8 years in prison. He agreed to rent the 800-square-foot home. 800 square foot. You know how little that is?
It's very
That's the size
small.
of a garage.
Mm-hmm.
To the government for what?
$2,800 a month.
Are you serious? This convicted felon has a piece of crap house on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, getting $2,800 a month.
These people deserve the Schmitty Award.
They do. They're gonna. This is the Schmitty Award.
This is awful.
Wednesday evening, a group of protesters.
Those poor people.
They hung pillowcases on the fence outside of the home and carried signs. "I'm very angry," said one resident. "Everybody's afraid. They're literally scared and fearing for their lives because this man is here." Now check this out. If you don't think it's worse.
See, everything's upside down.
Yes.
Everything is upside down.
Just like you read.
It says the
Isaiah.
owner of a security firm who accompanied Hubbard to the home said the felon would have 24-hour protection.
Who pays for that? Some
We do.
crook who just got out of prison? No, we do.
We do. As taxpayers, those people that are protesting him,
Yeah.
their taxes are going towards
Yes,
this.
and no one's protecting them. No one's protecting them, but they're protecting this rapist. Here's what the Sunset Protective Services.
See,
I don't want to.
They're wrong too.
They should. Oh God, yeah. Oh God, they need dirt naps. I don't want to say he's euphoric, but he's optimistic and hopes he can reintegrate back into society and live a normal life.
Oh, yeah.
That's the owner. His name, this Schmitty is named John Perry, Perry. He's the owner of Sunset Protective Services. I'm sure they have a website and a comment section. Just saying. Last week, the DA's office said that Hubert's release was delayed 2 weeks because there was some viral outbreak at the state hospital. Hubbard was ruled a sexually violent predator under state law. He appealed it unsuccessfully, so he's still a sexually violent predator. After his sentencing in 1972 for assaults in Southern California, he was released in 79. Just a few
Only
years
7
later.
years, yeah.
In the San Francisco Bay Area. That's where he should have stayed then, huh? Where he again sexually assaulted a series of women, according to court records. Guess what? He was sentenced in 1982 to 16 years in state prison. But he was released again in 1990.
Which was 8 years.
And guess what he did? He raped again. He reoffended and had been in state custody since 1996. And now he's released.
Wow.
After his release to the home near the community of Lake Los Angeles, Hubbard was expected to be required to wear a GPS ankle monitor and attend therapy sessions twice per week. Oh, now here's some more money that we have to pay.
I was just going to say that. Who's paying for that?
Yeah. In addition, a state contractor who supervises sexually violent predators was to be assigned to Hubbard, and with him every time the felon is in public for the first 6 months of his release, the DA's office announced. And we're paying for every single dime. There's a big picture of this idiot. He looks like one of those 70s porn stars.
Yeah, he does.
Stupid
Look at it. Ugh.
face and
Just
demon
wanna-
eyes. But isn't that annoying? I mean,
is
it's
so
annoying
annoying.
who he is. But it's annoying these politicians, this judge, this government, this
And the
upside
security
down world.
and the security company.
Yeah, Sun, whatever they are, Sun Protective Services. What a bunch of a-holes.
Yeah.
What a bunch of a-holes. To even take a job like that.
Exactly.
What the hell?
Well, mammon, money speaks,
I
right?
can only hope that the pillowcase rapist crawls through your door one night.
Yeah, but that's just the whole thing. It's always somebody more innocent. It's not
It
any
is.
of those people.
It is. Ah,
Sickening.
God, it's
It's
irritating.
upside down. This world is upside down. It's not right.
No, and then so let's continue and have black masses and rituals at the Oklahoma Civic Auditorium and allow all this spiritual evil. Let's
It's like
just go ahead and
that's-
ignore it. Let's have Santeria in the White House. Thank you, Bama.
It's like, Lord, come soon, please.
Well, if you don't,
This
I'm
is
going to
horrible.
explode. Yeah, it is horrible, and it's
All
a
our
point of no
spirits
return.
are vexed by this.
Oh man, it is just so bad out there.
And this
So
is
bad
another
out there.
story that's disgusting. This mother, and she shouldn't even be called a mother.
No, she's
you know
not
that?
a mother. She's a schmitty.
This Schmitty, she suffocated her little toddler son because she didn't want him anymore. Then she posts his pictures of his body on Facebook.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
You kill him and then post.
He was only 11 months old.
My Lord.
To me, this is an abortion.
Yeah, this is an 11-month-old live abortion.
Yeah, it's murder. A mother who allegedly suffocated her 11-month-old boy told police, "I reached my breaking point. I just didn't want him anymore." And afterwards, she then appears to have posted a macabre photograph of her boy's corpse on her Facebook page with the message, "Rest in peace," or IP, Tinkerbutt.
You're kidding me? She kills this guy, puts a picture of his dead body, and then on Facebook, and then says "R.I.P. Tinkerbutt." Dude, you can't. What the?
Yep.
So she's totally ignorant of the law of murder. I wonder if they're going to put her in Antelope Valley.
Yeah, might as well. Maybe she should hook up with
Maybe she'd hook up with
Pillow Man.
Pillow Butt.
Nicole, 22, from Queens, New York, has been charged with the second-degree murder of Kiem Felix Jr., who was pronounced dead at Elmhurst Hospital on Sunday after being taken there by Kelly and the father, who lived separately.
Let me ask you this. Why is it second-degree murder when you say, I no longer want him anymore, I'm just going to suffocate him and kill him? Why is that not first-degree murder?
That's my question.
I'm starting to get mad.
Queen's DA Richard Brown said that she callously left him alone for half an hour to die. So he suffered, too. A neighbor said that when the boy's father, Kilam Felix Sr., who is not suspected of being involved in the death, arrived at the house, there was a great deal of shouting. The unnamed resident told New York Post, "I could hear him yelling, 'I'm not waiting for the ambulance. He's not breathing.'" And if Kelly's unnamed housemaid is to be believed, the disturbing nature of the story doesn't end with the allegations of the murder. The housemaid, who Kelly rented a room from, told the reporter that Clam was dressed in a white collared shirt, tie, and pants when he was taken to the hospital, and a picture of him dressed like his appeared. And the picture of him dressed like this appeared the next day on Kelly's Facebook page. That's sick.
So she dressed him like a funeral corpse.
There's widespread speculation, therefore, that she had posted a picture of Kiam's lifeless body. Along with the photograph carrying the RIP headline, Kelly left a message that read, "Missing my baby boy so much. Wish there was some way I could bring him back to life. I feel horrible knowing he passed away. Am his mother. I was supposed to protect him. I know his spirit will always be around me." That's, you know what, you should just slap her. Schmitty slap her. Schmitty slap her.
Yeah, Schmitty slap her with a crowbar. These people are not mothers.
No, they're not.
I heard another radio host just last week talking about some of these stories, and he has 3 or 4 kids, and a wife, and he's involved in all that, mommy stuff. When you're that age and have all those kids, and he was saying this is just not mother behavior. This is not how mothers behave. This is just totally abnormal. And this guy, by the way, is not a Christian host. This guy is
just a regular human.
He's just a regular, AM radio guy. But he was even saying this is just not normal. Not normal. Okay, let's end with the crazy demon dance before I'm really going to explode because I get more mad at the church than I do the actual demons.
Because they should know better.
They should know better. So the first 6 stories was the crazy demon dance, past the point of no return. Now the next from 7 to 10, what is the church doing about the crazy demon dance? That's what these stories are about. What the church is doing. Let's start with this one, Ms. Kapara.
This is from lifenews.com. Pro-abortion Christian pastors distribute condoms outside Hobby Lobby to protest SCOTUS decision. Now, the one thing I wanted to point out with this one, the word Christian is in quotes.
Yes.
So,
yes,
they're not Christians the way.
No, but see, that term has been hijacked.
Yep.
Christian has been hijacked. Church has been hijacked. We're always searching for terms to call the real believers. I call them the remnant or the Yahad now because. But
this is all on purpose.
Yes, it is.
This is all on purpose.
Just like our theological terms have been hijacked.
Yep. These pro-abortion pastors have, from different Christian denominations, distributed condoms outside a Hobby Lobby store to protest this week's Supreme Court decision, giving it and other companies the ability to opt out of the Obamacare mandate that compels them to pay for abortion-causing drugs for their employees.
So they're pro-abortion, these Christians. Pastors. It's amazing. Christian clergy and activists from different faiths protested outside a Hobby Lobby on Route 59, Supreme Court's decision. They didn't like that. The gathering was organized by retired minister Reverend Emmylou Belcher of the DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church. Folks, Unitarians, Universalists are not Christians.
No.
They're Satanists,
Yeah,
okay?
they
just call themselves Christians because, well, everybody else does. And the Reverend Mark Winters of First Congregational United Church of Christ in Naperville. I'm not really familiar with that one, but it is a United Church of Christ, and I think they're nuts. The group distributed packets of condoms and contraception information to shoppers. Belcher said, "This is an issue about power, where employers control the most intimate details of their employees' lives. So this is what the church is doing, or what the world at least perceives Christians doing, in light of all those other stories we just talked about.
Yeah.
Cops raping their wives and killing all their kids, mothers suffocating babies and posting them on Facebook, having black masses, sexually assaults on grandmas and uncles, and this is your answer to the world's problems.
Yep.
Let's go pass out condoms because people should be able to boink as much as they want, however they want, whenever they want.
Yep. And Belcher said that she was surprised by Monday's Supreme Court decision. She said that the decision was not a matter of religious freedom, but rather corporate control.
Oh, this is so annoying. Just so annoying. Here's another annoying one from Christian News.
TV preachers glowingly describe meeting with Pope to tear down walls of division.
You know what I call this? I call
Yes.
this the spiritual Lewinsky.
Yep.
Why do I call it the spiritual Lewinsky? Everybody remembers who Monica Lewinsky is,
Yep.
right?
I do.
She did the Lewinsky on Bill Clinton in the White House.
Yep.
These people do the spiritual Lewinsky with the Pope.
Yep. That's true.
That's right. Use your imagination.
And two of the pastors or the preachers that are in the picture here is Kenneth Copeland and James Robison.
Yep. They want to work towards tearing down the walls of division between Catholics and Protestants. Kenneth Copeland, a.k.a. Snakeface. Hey, I'm just reading it. And James Robinson are two religious leaders in Northeast Texas known for drawing huge crowds to the services and events, who were a part of leading the group identifying as a delegation of evangelical Christian leaders in its meeting with the Roman Catholic pontiff last month. Copeland heads his Kenneth Copeland Ministries on Eagle Mountain International Church, and Robinson is an apostolic elder at Gateway Church and co-hosts the Life Today TV program. Oh, my Lord. This guy, Copeland, this article says that he was under investigation not too long ago.
No kidding.
Raises serious questions about Copeland's religious empire. According to the report, the ministry operates private jets, which are often used for vacation trips. I just find that hard to believe. You know, he's a man of God. He should have a jet around.
Well, one of their former employees told CBS News that in my viewpoint, she says, I believe that they were using a lot of ministry's assets for personal business.
Oh,
you think?
I think the whole thing is about personal business. It is a personal business.
Well, and
it's
they have the prosperity gospel. So what do you
Yeah.
What do you think?
So they get their 501c3, they get their little tax break, their tax deduction, all this stuff. So as long as they do the agenda of the Illuminati.
Yeah, and Copeland's wife Gloria, she says that God knows where the money is, and He knows how to get the money to you.
Yeah, God knows that the money is in your pocket.
Yeah.
and now Kenneth Copeland and all these other money preachers want to get it out of your pocket, separate it from your wallet or your purse, and put it in their bank account.
It says here that like the Copelands, Robinson has been criticized for straying from traditional biblical teaching. He once invited Father Jonathan Morris to his Live Today TV program and praised his Catholic beliefs and practices.
He says, that's a Protestant. Every time you talk, every time I see you, I see Jesus, Robinson told Morris. I wish most Protestant preachers had the sensitivity and discernment and gift to communicate that you have, Robinson said.
This month, Copeland and Robinson are once again the focus of controversy after news surfaced that they both visited Pope Francis at the Vatican in late June. Afterward, Robinson said that meeting was an answered prayer. It was an answered prayer, describing it as a supernatural gathering and an unprecedented moment between evangelicals and the Catholic Pope.
Okay, everybody hear the Lewinsky going on here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You hear it?
And then Robinson wrote on his blog, on June 24th, for nearly 3 hours, a few of us were blessed to meet in an intimate circle of prayerful discussion.
You know, I wonder if he has a stain on his little Kenneth Copeland tie.
Mm-hmm.
Probably has a stain on his little blue dress.
Mm-hmm. Schmitty stain. Several other evangelicals, including Robinson's wife, were present at the meeting, which was organized by the Episcopal bishop.
This meeting was a miracle. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
This meeting was a miracle, Robinson said, after returning from Rome. This is something God has done. God wants His arms around the world, and He wants Christians to put His arms around the world. by working together. Okay. He goes on, the world is suffering. We as Christians have too much love to share without fighting one another. Lewinsky. Monica Lewinsky. Huh? He's doing a spiritual Lewinsky on the Pope, and the Pope's just sitting back with a big grin on his face going, yeah.
Robinson, he enjoyed every moment with the leader of the Roman Catholic Church,
Sure
saying he even gave Pope Francis a friendly high five. Isn't that cute?
Oh, he should
And
give him a fist bump. That would have been cool.
And he wrote, we continued in such glorious fellowship that words could never describe it. I'm fighting back tears as I write. So glorious was the presence of Jesus.
Night. I hear the Lewinsky just going on. Oh, man.
And Copeland shared similar positive sentiments about the visit. According to Robinson's blog post, Copeland lovingly spoke a few words of encouragement to Pope Francis, afterward praying for him. It's beautiful.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? So the whole thing going on is this is what the church is doing, or the Christian so-called Christian leaders. At least the world perceives these guys as Christian leaders and makes fun of them. This is what they're doing. Well, the whole world's just going to hell in a handbasket. Here's one that's a little more sinister. Even I think you'll find this more sinister.
This Kentucky boy was raped by a pastor,
a church
hired because God forgave past sex crimes. Ugh, look at this face.
In a nutshell, before we go into this idiot church, these idiot people know that this guy, Roy Neal Yoakum, is a sex offender. But because it's his past, that God has forgiven him, why shouldn't they? And who are we to judge? And so they hire him as their pastor, even knowing his past, and give him access to children who he then rapes. Okay, are you serious?
Yep. And now he's facing more charges for repeatedly raping a 14-year-old member of the congregation. Thank you.
This is a Kentucky church. They said they knew their pastor was a registered violent sex offender, just like the pillowcase rapist.
Yeah, well, why don't we hire him as a pastor then?
Yeah, but they did. They hired him. They knew this when they hired him, and now he's facing more charges because he rapes. And I guarantee you, there's going to be more victims of this one kid. The Gallatin Police Department said in a statement this week that 46-year-old pastor Roy Neal Yoakum had been arrested Monday on charges of statutory rape, sexual battery by authority figure, statutory rape by fugitive from justice, the whole thing, right? He's accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old boy once inside the New Gospel Outreach Church in Scottsdale, Kentucky, and once at his home in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Dear Lord. He has been required to register as a violent sex offender after being found guilty in 2005 of abusing an 8-year-old boy in Kentucky.
Isn't that something? The New Gospel Outreach Church interim pastor Stephen Bratcher said that he was shocked to hear of the allegations, even though church leaders knew Yoakum was a registered sex offender when they hired him. Bratcher asserted that the church had determined that the previous allegations of sexual assault were false.
Now, how did they do that?
That's what I'm. Yeah. Okay. There's an investigation. There's a victim.
There's public record.
Evidence. They go to court. He serves his time. He's a convicted. But the church determines it's false. He couldn't be. He's a man of God. You see the brainless. They have no discernment. They have left the way of Yahweh and following this new age Cheez-Its. They're just it's totally gone.
Yep.
The church it's just gone. How could this possibly happen? Unbelievable. Kentucky State Police was contacted. Kentucky Attorney General's office was contacted. That's what Bratcher said. You know, about the legality. And the troopers over at the Boiling Green Post said that they contacted the sex offenders branch, and they said there's nothing illegal about it. So Bratcher, the interim pastor Bratcher, is just as much of an idiot
Yeah,
as
and then
the
he
rest of
says,
these guys.
he's not in a position to judge anyone.
Yeah, I'm not in a position to judge anybody. There's nothing illegal about it. So he did it.
And then he says, we're firm believers in the Bible, so if God has forgiven you, then we're in no position to treat you otherwise. But you're responsible for those children in your church.
This guy wouldn't know God or the biblical scripture or truth if it came and
Dear
bit him
God.
in the face. The Gallatin Police Department was investigating the possibility of more children being victimized. They're not aware of any right now, but they think that could be it. You should see the picture of this guy.
I know. He's
I mean, you just look at him and you can tell he's a perv.
he's a cheesy schmitty.
But the church hired him.
They're schmitties,
church-
too.
Now this one is this one's close to home, and this one's annoying because we've been following this for years.
Yeah.
This church is right here in Corona, California, about what
30 minutes?
30 minutes from us.
Yeah, 30, 40 minutes.
And this guy started off like in a little home church, and he started building it up, and it was a regular Christian evangelical church, but it's more like a Jim Jones kind of a nightmare. And anyway, just this last week, this
Dear God.
this pastor and his henchmen, they pled guilty to forcing a 13-year-old boy to dig his own grave.
Nice.
What the article doesn't say is really, it doesn't go back and tell what happened in the story, but basically this gal who was going to this church complained to this pastor that she couldn't control her kid, so they took him out and did the Breaking Bad on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Scare him to death.
Yeah, they did the mafiosa scared straight on him type of thing. A California pastor and two members of his congregation admitted in court that they physically abused a 13-year-old boy, and they made him dig his own grave. This guy's 56-year-old. He's from the Heart of Worship Community Church. I love the names that these things
I
have.
know. Isn't it
Biblical
wonderful?
Outreach, Heart of Worship. You just and this is what the church is doing when grandmas are being raped, when men just feel like killing other men, when Utah cops are drugging and raping their wives and killing their children, and women are killing their babies. This is what Christianity, quote unquote, is doing.
Yeah.
And you wonder why I'm so damn angry.
The 56-year-old Heart of Worship Community Church pastor Lonnie Lee Remmers and 24-year-old Nicholas James Craig and 30-year-old Daryl Dwayne Jetter Jr. said that they were following instructions to scare the victim, and all three of the men had worked at a group home where the boy had lived. In March of 2012, the men reportedly took the victim to the desert where he was forced to dig a grave. After he got in the grave, the men threw dirt on him. Nice. The men also rubbed salt into his wounds while he was showering, tied him to a chair with zip ties, and sprayed mace on his face until he bled. And at one point, the boy was made to sit in the middle of a Bible study group and pinch his own nipples with pliers. Remmers could be sentenced up to 2 years in prison after pleading guilty to inflicting bodily injury on a child and assault with a deadly weapon. Craig and Jetter were ordered to serve 1 year in prison and placed on a 3 years of formal probation after pleading guilty to child abuse charges and making criminal threats. And the mother should be slapped?
Yeah, no, she's totally innocent on this. She's not charged with anything, even though she's the one that went to these idiots and
Well, that's
said,
what I'm
straighten my
saying.
kid out. Yeah.
You're the mother for
Yeah.
crying out loud.
You
And then you
see-
said these three
Goons.
idiots
Yeah.
take your kid to a deserted desert?
Yes. Yeah, and that's okay. These are not mothers.
They're not. That's your responsibility for crying out. Oh, my goodness.
You should see the picture of this pastor.
Oh,
does,
I know.
does he look
I
like
just want to take a pliers and just take his nose and just...
I know. All of them. All these guys and his henchmen, you tell me if they have Christian faces. If you
No.
can see the love of Christ in their face.
No.
All these guys look like total crooks. They look like mafiosos.
Yeah, they do. Yes, they
But
do.
no, they had a church right here in our own backyard that was doing pretty well, called the Heart of Worship. They had their music.
And those
they
people
had
are
their
probably
little
praying
thing.
for him, too.
Oh, they're yeah. That God sustained him in prison.
pastor who's been,
That's why we cannot find a church worth going to anywhere within 20 minutes or 30 minutes of where we live.
Because a lot of the pastors
There are
look
none.
like that.
They all look like that. They all have that
Their
stupid
little
head.
snake eyes.
There's none out here in Southern California. This is
That's
like
a
this is
shame.
the pit. Yeah. So if you have a good church you're going to,
God bless.
bless you. You better pray for that pastor.
Yes.
You better hang on and everything because the devil is going to do everything in his power to derail you. Everything, and they're coming at you full force. Good churches don't last very long. Keep that in mind. Don't ever take it for granted.
Nope.
Okay, Ms. Kapow, I am done talking about what the stupid church is doing while the rest of the world's doing the crazy demon dance. Let's, just for fun, let's do these last two couple of stories.
Okay.
This is pretty funny.
This one is on Mail Online. A stem cell patient accidentally grows a nose on her back 8 years after surgeons injected tissue there to try to cure her paralysis.
Now, did she notice this because she smelled something funny? Like, hey, come, she's like, honey,
What is that?
What is that? I keep smelling my own butt. I smell my own butt. I mean, how does this work?
A woman has developed a nose-like growth 8 years after a stem cell treatment to cure her paralysis failed. At the Hospital de Agues Moniz in Lisbon, Portugal, the unnamed woman, who is a United States citizen, had tissue from her nose implanted in her spine.
That's your first clue.
Yeah.
That's your first clue.
This is not good.
This is not good. Tissue from
Doctors-
your nose in your spine.
Can you imagine it was feet or something?
Oh, yes. I smell cheese.
Because now you can walk on your back.
You could walk on your
From your
back
back.
from feet. Yeah, yeah. And you have that cheese like a little salamander.
Doctors hoped the cells would develop into neural cells and help repair the nerve damage to the woman's spine.
They
but
hoped. They
the
hoped.
treatment failed. However, last year, 8 years after the stem cell operation, the woman, then 28, complained of increasing pain in that area. And the doctors discovered a 3-centimeter long growth, which was found to be mainly nasal tissue, as well as bits of bone and nerve branches that had not connected with the spine nerves. Neurosurgeon from the University of Iowa Hospitals said that who removed the growth said it was benign, but was secreting a thick, copious mucus-like material.
So it was
snot.
runny. It was a runny nose.
snot, which was probably why it was painfully on her spine.
So she had a runny nose in her
Well,
in her
of course,
butt
and she
in her
couldn't-
butt spine.
Yeah, so she had mucus. The stem cell researcher in Wayne State University, Detroit, Michigan, advised the team who conducted the surgical technique, which had been tested on rodents, said that most of the recipients of the nasal tissue who've received the right kind of rehabilitation after their surgery experienced improvement.
Yeah,
but those are rodents. She's not a rodent.
And they probably couldn't complain that they were smelling their butt.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the rodent.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, because the rodent's like, Oh my
She told
God.
the new scientist, "I am saddened to learn of this adverse event. However, the increase of this problem is less than 1%. Many patients received this treatment have had remarkable recovery."
Oh, my
I'm not sure who said this, but
Is this a nose?
yeah,
It looks like a nose.
it's a nose.
Oh, my Lord. That's
Only the
ugly.
nose knows if it's a
Wow.
nose.
Well, in 2010, the Lisbon researchers published the results using this method on 20 people paralyzed at various locations in their spine. 11 experienced some recovery of movement or sensation. Some. One person's paralysis got worse. One developed meningitis, and 4 others experienced minor adverse effects. So how can they say this is successful? Stem cells or master cells are capable of turning into other cell types, so are widely seen as a repair kit. While often championed as a future of medicine, stem cells' ability to metamorphose and increased carries an inherent danger. Namely, when implanted into a person, they could turn into a dangerous cancer cells. Nice. Here's one. Boy has a nose growing on his head, ready for transplant. There's his head. It's his forehead.
It's his forehead, yes, and he's growing a nose right there.
Whoa.
And there says here, a Chinese man has nose grown on his forehead to replace original, which is damaged in a car crash.
Okay. How bad could it be if you got to grow a nose on your forehead?
Yeah.
Just live with the car crash nose. Okay.
But I think what they're going to do is take that one off and then put it on his nose.
Oh my Lord! Look at it.
But see,
That
what
is
I would have
freaky.
done is I'd have that nose in my stomach where you could put. a shirt over it. Then take it off and then put it back on where it's supposed to be.
Well, you should just leave it on like that. Because you imagine what a good swimmer he'd be? I mean, he could
but if it
snorkel.
rains, then
Well, if it
what?
rains, it's a little uncomfortable. Oh, my
Because the nostrils
goodness.
are facing upwards.
Yeah, and then bugs can get in there.
Ooh, nasty. No bugs.
Oh, man.
Itchy, witchy.
Okay, one more and let's get out of here.
All right.
Do you know, now I haven't heard this, but there's a mysterious sound. There's a mysterious humming sound. It sounds like this. I don't know, but that's what I imagine. And it's driving people insane.
But it's interesting because they have a map here with
Yeah.
little pin marks where all this noise is coming from,
Yeah.
or people that are hearing it. And it's like
We're
all
right
over.
there. It's like San Diego. Like for us, it's San Diego. All this Riverside
Yeah,
County.
it's like clusters, man.
All the way up here on the East Coast. I mean, it's everywhere, even in Mexico. Some in Canada. But I haven't
A
heard
lot
any-
on the East Coast, huh?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's interesting, this map.
Very,
I mean,
very,
it's
very, very
everywhere. But I haven't heard anything.
It's the World Hum.
It's called the World Hum Database. It shows incidents and reports for the mysterious humming noise.
Huh, they even have some hum investigators.
Hum investigators? Now that's a good job.
Yeah. How
No
do you
one knows what's
qualify
going
for
on.
that?
You got to go high. Huh. Paranormal. Some hum investigators, like University of Oklahoma geophysicist David Dimming, suspect there's a global source responsible for the hum worldwide. Okay? Pray tell. It's a very low wavelength noise, perhaps between 50 or 56 hertz. And it's extremely difficult to stop infrasound because it can have a wavelength of up to 10 meters. I don't know what that means. Just speak English. What does
I know.
this mean? What's the bottom line here? Because he goes, you'll need around 2.5 meter thick walls built with normal materials to keep it out. It gets into your wooden houses very easily. And part of the reason people have so much trouble identifying the source is because of how low frequency the hum is. It literally moves right through your head before you can figure out which ear picked it up first. I think Dimming's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's a physicist, but I think he's so book smart that he has no common sense. He doesn't know how to. He doesn't know how to communicate.
No.
Dimming needs to take a Dimming nap. Mm-hmm. His research considered close to authoritative. It's close, okay?
Yeah, not
it's not
quite.
really authoritative, but it's close to being authoritative.
Because no one can understand what he's saying.
No. They agree with me. In the hum community, there's actually a community of hummers, which goes
Nice.
back to the, I'm going to make a joke here. I apologize in advance. I can't help it. The spiritual Lewinsky.
Ah, okay.
I shouldn't have said it. I knew I shouldn't have. Now I got to edit it. Remind me to edit that out. The hum community suggests that evidence of the hum corresponds with an accidental biological consequence of the take charge and move out Tacamo system adopted by the U.S. Navy in the 1960s and a way for the military leaders to maintain community. What are you talking about?
I know. It's idiotic.
Okay, you know what? I apologize for even reading this story. This is just
Stupid.
stupid.
But what is interesting is that there's this low hum
There is a hum.
that is driving people crazy. We've heard stories before that where people, it's just so in their head, and they can't drown out the noise that some of them have gone to see therapists.
Yeah, it drives them nuts. They say it's like an airport. It feels like an airport or a jet
Humming in
engine
yours. Yeah.
under their bar stools.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
Because you can't make it go away, and you don't know what it is. And
It's like George Bush. It's terrible.
sure,
It's terrible.
idiot.
I gotta edit that out too. Good night. God bless.
You all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on God willing. We'll see you on Monday night.
Yes.
But there's one thing we've got to say before we leave tonight. So what will you do when the party's over? So what will you riding high and you're looking fine, and life seems out of sight. But without that beer and without those drugs, things wouldn't be so right. Jesus came to free you from a life of toil and sin. We'd sure like to see you let the Savior in. So what will you do when the party's over? So what will you do when the party's over? Listen. You say you're young, and you've got time. The Bible's just not your thing. A few more years won't matter much. You're gonna give your life a flame. But what if Jesus comes back to take his church away? Yeah. Whoa, what if something happens? Do you know if you'll be saved? So what will you do when the party's over? What will you do when the party's over? So friend of mine, please listen. Listen to what I say. Give your life to Jesus and